the starting point that he had Liverpool at and the end point that he is going to leave us with. You know, I think all of that says to me he's done he's done the most incredible job. But the way in which he's also gone about it, the gift that his personality is, the general sense of togetherness and love, really, that he's fostered and garnered, that he's understood that it's an emotional city, and has brought the emotion to the point that won't stop. That'll be there on his final day, big time. I think he's got that, and he's put it forward in a really raw, honest, authentic way that I think's made a real difference to everybody. Plus, there's all the achievements.
Jurgen Klopp is widely regarded as one of the most successful managers in Liverpool's history, having won 4 out of the 5 major trophies with the Reds. The German was appointed in 2015 and won his first trophy 4 years later as the European Cup returned to Anfield, followed by a first league title in 30 years for the club. His success has inspired many, and in the case of media company The Anfield Wrap, a documentary series called Jurgen was made to tell the manager's story.
So far in general, I think it's probably the most ambitious project that a fan media company has sort of launched themselves into, and I'm proud of that fact as well, that we get to continue to be disruptors in a sense in an industry which is or has previously been sort of so weighted towards mainstream media, and it would have previously been seen that only the club or the BBC or someone like that could produce these kind of incredible pieces of documentary work. But I like the fact that we've done that now, and I love the fact that it touched Jurgen personally, that it sort of reminded him of all these friends and family members and things like that from the past, and sort of took him back on that journey that he's took us on as well. Like that is a real sort of sense of pride for me.
So it came as a shock when halfway through the current Premier League season, Jurgen Klopp announced he would be leaving the club in May. Looking back at his tenure, it's clear that the manager made a lot of Liverpool fans very happy and was the driving force behind a major change in the club's performance. But what about his impact off the pitch? Just how much can a successful football club, helped by an elite manager, impact the city it is based in? This is an investigation into just how much power and influence a football manager can have, specifically on businesses and economics. Has Jurgen Klopp's success improved businesses in the local area, or even the wider economy? Or are the impacts of his performance limited to the factors that would be considered on the pitch? We start with some of the businesses that directly feed off Liverpool Football Club, as they explain the impact Klopp has had on their business performance.
Since the club announced that he is leaving, we start getting like so many tourists. The tourists always come in. It's like that Liverpool is one of the best popular tourist attraction, Anfield. But since he said he's leaving, the more tourists is coming. I think they wanted to see him before he leave. While he's here, they wanted to see Anfield.
Well, the more success we have, the more people want to go out, have a drink, follow the team. That's just the way it is now with modern football, So yeah, it helped us a lot, with loads of finals. This full place is full here on match day on finals as well, even if you're far away. So that helped us a lot.
There's 3 reasons why, over the tenure of Klopp, 3 reasons that drive people to subscribe to the Anfield Wrap. One is a big win, one is a big transfer, and one is a big interview. Been a lot of big wins with Jurgen Klopp. There's not been that many big transfers, or rather I've long sort of thought that if Liverpool followed the sort of transfer model that Manchester United do, where it feels like every single summer they buy 6 and sell 8, then I think that that could actually be better for the Anfield Wrap's business. Big interviews less so these days, because there's so many press conferences and so many sort of unguarded media appearances that footballers do. But yeah, Jurgen's ability to bring huge moments of significance on the pitch has obviously massively helped the Anfield Wrap.
We've almost been able to tell that idea of going on a journey with this football team through the eyes of the fans, and Jurgen has almost made our job easier in that sense, because he is such a a journey hunter, to coin the phrase that Neil came up with, but Jurgen really likes that idea that we're not glory hunters, we're journey hunters, and that's what I think is a big thing for sort of people who are from Liverpool, people who are Liverpool fans, is that the idea of your relatives from the past and past generations telling you about how good this Liverpool team were in the past, telling you about the trips they went on in Europe and the things they got to do and sort of got up to on those trips. It's that idea that this football club at its best can take you on these journeys. But of course, you know, the sort of lighter mood around the club helps the Anfield Wrap too in terms of, you know, being able to tell more positive stories, because I think football is sort of awash, and you know, the general media landscape is awash with negative news stories these days. You don't have to move very far to find a negative news story. So that idea that Jurgen has brought, you know, on the whole, relentless positivity to the football club obviously helps us tell a sort of more you know, nice and positive story.
It's hard to deny that Klopp's success has coincided with increased popularity for businesses that are linked to the football club. They've essentially said so themselves. But do the economists believe this to have had an impact on the wider economy across the city?
What research tends to show is that how well a team is performing does actually impact upon the local economy, because you will inherently have people from not only within the local area going to potentially view those games, but also on an international scale have people who are coming in from a variety of different countries just to be able to get a sense of the atmosphere at a particular ground, the actual city region as a whole. So if you combine all that together, what you do tend to find is that, yes, that it will positively impact upon a business's bottom line if you wanted to go to that level of depth. It would potentially be a little bit of a stretch to solely attribute the success of Klopp to mean that there would be a better performance for Liverpool businesses, because obviously it's a very multifaceted issue and a complex set of factors that can attribute to that. So it would be very difficult to be able to just pinpoint and go, Klopp is the sole reason as towards why a certain region or a certain business is performing and doing well.
Professor of Economics David Forrest has a more sceptical view. He believes that consultancies are willing to claim that sports clubs have major financial impact because that is what their clients pay them to find. And he doubts that Jurgen Klopp has had any impact on the city's economy.
They're not as big as you think. In terms of revenue generated for themselves, even though with television rights exploding, the importance of these clubs has increased over the years, it's still, for example, much smaller than the revenue that the local universities get from selling services to students. About 3/4 of the revenue they get goes to player wages, superstar wages anyone else can only dream about. But these guys on the football stars, they're smart. They know their careers are short, so the first thing is they're going to save or invest most of the income that they get, and they're not going to pass it on to anyone. And moreover, not many of them live in the city. They live in some rural dreamland in Cheshire, in the case of Liverpool, for example. So they don't even get to pass on much of their high income to local businesses. Manchester United have had a lean time in the last decade, but they're still up there with Liverpool as the most popular club to watch on television. And this is probably true in the stadium as well, that you keep your fans, even if the fans are from Reykjavik, they've signed up in their heads as a Liverpool fan, and they're likely still to be coming even if Liverpool is 7th in the table rather than fighting for the title. If you think of the Anfield Stadium, then across the road from it is that famous old baker's shop which sells scouse pies. Now, if they've got more matches on, that scouse pie shop will do well out of it. And so will the local bars like the Arkles, which are packed on match day and match night. But again, that's likely to be at the cost of businesses somewhere else in the city.
It's certainly a topic that splits opinion amongst economists. The new Liverpool manager is yet to be revealed, but it will be fascinating to observe what Klopp's replacement offers and how he will impact the city.
If Liverpool have a terrible season next season and it looks like the whole thing was just Jurgen Klopp magic, then Jurgen Klopp's failed. That's the truth of it. Jurgen's leaving. I think he's partially picked this moment because he thinks he's handing over in relatively good nick. And I think that he sees that as part of the job. On his first interview, he says, let's see what they say about you the day that you leave. But he's also said and made clear, I think, all the way through that, you know, he sees this as a trust that gets handed along